So, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, so you would know people that are very well known. So you work with Lee Mack on Not Going Out, you worked on Miranda, you've done stuff on Top Gear, so Chris Evans, Joey Tribbiani himself, which I'm amazed. Did you get a selfie when you worked with him?
No, I've generally shied away from the selfie thing.
Have you really?
I've generally never done it. I work with Michael Bublé quite closely, and I still regret to this day I've got no photographic evidence of it.
Did you co-write Home or something?
I like to think so. No, there's a TV show called Bublé at the BBC, which was him basically
I saw that.
plugging his album. And I wrote for that, so I was writing questions with and for Claudia Winkleman to interview him on the studio, and then also on one location we did like a hidden camera stunt where he wore these prosthetics, and the ploy was that he was
this in the salesman thing?
Yeah.
I saw it, yeah.
So I sort of wrote that concept.
Get away.
And I was in the gents' toilet of John Lewis with Michael Bublé in prosthetics.
That's so funny.
Kind of coaching him through how to get kind of the best comedy out of this sketch. I was in the gents' toilet coaching him.
Okay, yeah.
So, the whole point was he'd go out there and he'd have this karaoke machine and he'd do this accent, fake South African accent, and say, "Oh yeah, it's got a special Michael Bublé button." And you push it and it makes you sound like Michael Bublé.
It was gold.
And all of these customers we'd set it up so there were customers who were Bublé fans that we'd engineered that they would go that way.
Can't take some of the magic out of it.
And it was good fun, so...
But you would not, in that moment, do you not feel some level of, I need to document this somehow?
Yes, probably.
Do you know, I had one.
Yeah.
My wife and I were lucky enough to go to LA a few years ago, and we did all the kind of studios. And I don't know if you ever watched the Mighty Ducks films.
I didn't expect that. No, I'm aware of their work. I'm aware of their oeuvre.
Okay, so do you know who Emilio Estevez
I do.
is? So, we were on this tour, and then there was a stop to go and use the restrooms, as they call them. And I go to open the door, and it opens from the inside, and it's Emilio Estevez.
Of course it is.
And I grew up watching Mighty Ducks.
That's America for you.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, it was quite surreal, and it all happened so quickly because I naturally said thanks, and he said something like no problem. But his eye still sparkled. And I got into the toilet and there was no one else in there, and I thought, what do I do? Do I just be cool and just accept that that was Emilio Estevez?
Yep.
Do I open the door and shout quack, 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 which was this like rally call in the films? Or do I at least go and ask him for a selfie, but then when you collide in a toilet...
Tricky, innit?
It is tricky. So I didn't either.
Yeah, there's a time and a place.
Yeah, but I still don't know if I...
Is this your way of saying you'd like a selfie with me right now? Is this like, you think that this is going to part, if only this had been recorded and... Oh, it is being recorded. That's okay.
It is being
there
recorded,
is evidence of it. Yeah. Yeah, I found, when we did Top Gear as well, we had loads and loads of guests on there I don't know, as you said, Matt LeBlanc, but also guests. We had Bear Grylls, we had, who was it? Jamie Foxx, I think, did it. Well, I did the Pause for Thought thing on Radio 2 Breakfast Show.
Yeah.
Not so much now, but back then, a few years ago, you'd have all the celebrities in there as well. So I was doing, we had like Mary Berry, Liam Gallagher, and Jamie Oliver. Actually, no, you'd never put Jamie Oliver and Mary Berry together. That would be literally a recipe for disaster.
Oh.
You can have that. There you are. But
I was going to say Bloodbath, but yours wasn't.
That'll be either way. Yeah. But no, I don't think I've ever. Actually, the only one I did was Bryan Cranston, Breaking Bad, because he was particularly nice. He was one of the nicest celebrities I've ever met, and he was
what context did you
he was just doing selfie. He was there on Radio 2 Breakfast Show, and I just was working on the show, and he was there and just having selfies with everybody, and he had a 5-minute chat with me, and it was lovely. He's
good to know, isn't it?
Proper good celebrity. He's a good one.
I'm glad to hear that.
He is a good one.
So of any of the celebrities, and this is what I'm getting at here, have you got any good advice about parenting from any of the celebrities you work with? Or Lee Mack, who you probably just see as a colleague or acquaintance, I don't know. But you're writing on that show.
Yep.
It's all about family life. So is there anything of your family life or Lee Mack's family life that's bled into that show, or anything that you've maybe even learned through that or from Lee? Well,
I think you can see with Not Going Out that what started off as a show about a bachelor and a flat share has become a family sort of sitcom. And
if you don't mind me saying so, it's much better now than in the first
do you think?
season.
Oh, there you go. Others disagree, so this is it.
You did something for Care for Family a while back, and I'd never actually watched Not Going Out.
You have.
Hold my hands up. No, I know a lot of people who do. And I started it, and I was like, nah.
Okay.
And then I thought, I'm just going to see what it's like.
Yeah.
And then the last 4 series plus, I was like,
but maybe
this
that's
is great.
because you are in family life now. I don't
Maybe
know.
it is.
Maybe it's like a mirror.
Yeah.
But I'm literally today, as we speak, writing the next series of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the problems that come up are family life problems. So it's about dads at the school gates and the fact that mums find it. We had a whole episode last series about how mums find it easier to make friends at the school gates than dads do. And we had a whole, I think, a very funny episode, if I say so myself, which was Lee getting to know a dad at the school gates, but it was played by Joe Wilkinson, who is this very offbeat, surreal comedian, who is like, of all the people you want to get to know at the school gates, Joe Wilkinson is unusual, put it that way. So that was kind of fun to explore.
His unusual self in it.
Yeah, exactly. He was completely
zany,
beardy, unusual. And it was great. So, but exploring some of those quirks of modern life can be kind of a good, fun way of doing that.
So do you know if any of the stuff that you get through in that first draft, like, do you and Lee ever talk about your own family dynamics within the writing process?
Well, mostly it's all on email now, and it's because he's so busy. Generally, the producer's the one sort of handing it through. We did the first few series. We wrote in the room together, and that was nice. And bouncing a bit off that, I wrote some of it at his house, and you can see he's literally got family life going on around him. The other one, actually, different show, but Miranda, which is not on anymore, of course. But
how many seasons was that?
That was 3.5 seasons of Miranda.
3.5.
And we did like a couple of specials. So I was a customer in the background, and Miranda told me not long ago that I was the only customer in the entire run of the series to ever buy anything. So I was single-handedly keeping that Miranda shop afloat. But I still get to this day, parents come up to me and recently I worked with an actress who was in her mid-20s. And she found out I worked on Miranda. She said, I used to love watching that growing up. I thought, now I feel old. Oh man. But I still get people, especially parents of tall girls, or indeed tall women themselves, who say it was really helpful for them. Someone who maybe doesn't feel they fit in as a teenager, and sometimes kind of you suddenly get a growth spurt and you feel like you don't fit in. You're kind of taller than your classmates, a bit gangly, whatever it might be. But I think a show like Miranda was really good at saying it's okay, and you'll have moments where you kind of clumsily fall over on the dance floor, whatever. But we've all been there. We haven't all been there. Miranda's been there.
Well, I'll tell you something. My daughter's in I don't know how, but she's in the 75th centile for her height. So I might be rediscovering Miranda in a few years'
time. Could be. Give it 10 years and we'll see.
We will.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for watching that episode of The Dad Cave. If there's anything you want to say, get involved in the comment section. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe click a like. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But